what's up? So, ladies, gents, trans, and whoever you are, welcome to the post-season episode of Lost Legends. This is going to be a bit of a thing where I don't really talk about a game in particular, but as the series so far. So do you like it, hate it, have any common criticisms, or whatever you want to ask me, just let me know. But before we get to that, I want to go on some sort of channel update on both RABIT and Mace 2.0. Now, I don't know whether or not I can get some vids done by the end of the same month, which is February 2024 at the time of, recording. The first one being an update to Malice, where I finally got my hands on the Gwen Stefani build from a friend who bought it off from PlayStation Museum. Gameplay shown here is from the very same build that PSM played from over a decade ago. I will release the gameplay one of these days. I just need to weed out the boring footage, get rid of the frame buffers, and maybe upload the whole thing or chop it to several parts. In the time of editing, I'm practically chopping the damn thing into a few parts, so yeah. The other thing being exclusive to Mace 2.0, which is dedicated to Cyberpunk 2077. More so a challenge run whether or not I can beat the game as a samurai, without any crazy cyberware or firearms. Only katana, some knives, non-lethal grenades, and these are the only things that keep me alive. Inspired by Mitten Squad's videos, who sadly passed away back in December, this guy was a pioneer on the whole challenge run thing. So, ever wonder if you can beat Fallout New Vegas with only a big iron on your hip? Well, this guy got you covered. Can you beat Cyberpunk 2077 without any bugs? He got that covered. Can you beat Gran Turismo 4 without Japanese cars? Someone else does that one. It is a bit of a niche thing, but it's kind of entertaining. What makes this a bit sadder is that Mitten Squad passed away at the age of 27. Keep this in mind, I am a year younger than him. Which is much sadder, which is depressing, really. Don't make YouTube your full-time job, people. It's not gonna be very good in your health. I mean, you ever heard of job security? Job security on a YouTube job is a myth, apparently. After those videos are done, I got some plans for making another Mace 2.0 video, which isn't gaming related. Have you built a kit before? Yeah, like model kits, Gunpla, or hell, even a full-ass skateboard to be exact. Yeah, I have. Yeah, this is worth $250. PCs can be a kit too, but yeah, think about a more elaborate version of Legos and Lego Technic. It lies in the realm of PC building. Miniature models that worked, and model kits that required separate materials, paint, and glue. But don't count on that yet. But spoiler alert, it's an RC car. Come on. However, I need to wait on the rest of the parts to arrive. And the paint comes last. Because I can't make up my own damn mind whether or not I should paint it like it in the box, or should I go on my own style? I prefer my own style. Alright, back on topic. I finally finished the whole season of Lost Legends. It's crazy to think about how far this channel has become, even though the views are less than 10,000 and subscriber count is under 100. Maybe the topics I was covering were too niche, but then again I have a knack of doing that. Seriously, do you really need me to cover Nintendo games like Digital Gaming when there's a whole world of other interesting games to cover? That's where I fit in. So let's discuss what I've done. On the first season, one thing I've done mostly right is to have the episodes uploaded on time, usually near the end of the month. We'll get to that in a bit. There are some episodes that did some justice, like not many actually cover Gran Turismo 1, Dusk, and notably Turok Evolution. No offense to Matt McMuscles, he didn't even beat the game when he was covering that episode. Allegedly, but that's what I heard. Contacting developers, former or not, should be the one thing I should get used to, since they're the ones who know a lot more of the games they worked on than some Redditors speaking pseudo-intellect nonsense. Oftentimes I don't get a reply from one of the devs, their social media accounts are abandoned/deleted, or in one case they did, but it's after the whole video is already made and uploaded. When I get to talk about the things to improve, contacting the many devs I can find for the game I'm covering should be a priority. They potentially hold some more info that isn't from some old IGN or GameSpot articles. Things to improve. Now this one I want to ask on the show, what should I improve? For the first season, it is indeed a mess, but it's my glorious mess. Earlier in the video I uploaded my videos mostly on time. The only 4 episodes I had to deal with was Turok and Maximo. November 2022's episode is supposed to be the Turok Evolution episode, where I collaborated with Evolution Archive. The initial plan for this collab was to help me gather some interesting facts and check for any errors, but this eventually became a massive 2-part special. I was supposed to produce only part 1, which I did, while he was doing part 2. That idea fell apart, and it ended up with me reading through 34 pages of script, which ties with the cancelled Rayman documentary I wrote, but never produced. Turok took us over 6 months just to get the final script made, and then an extra month and a half to make the videos. During the pre-production of the Turok episode, my GPU got fried, meaning I had to spend a week getting the hardware I needed. Sometimes I need to think ahead, so I ended up spending a total of $1,700 Canadian on a new motherboard, CPU, and GPU. Also Windows 11. After I got my things back in order, I thought to myself, should I use HitFilm? I was considering Vegas, but the damn thing won't boot up unless I shit you not. I turn off the Wi-Fi. I tried to use Linux, but one damning problem is that it didn't detect my motherboard's Wi-Fi, rendering this kinda useless. The production of Maximo, on the other hand, you can definitely blame me. That's my L to take. It was going to be uploaded in November, but I started to have doubts on the quality for a season finale. I decided to force myself to get off my gonk ass and get it done by any means necessary. Guys, I've spent my time in the world of Cyberpunk 2077 more than Maximo. 4 entire playthroughs of this game was beaten before I considered making that Maximo video. I was so into it. The one excuse I could throw up is that unlike other popular YouTubers who probably had like a few editors on board, a co-writer, 3 researchers, and the one guy gathering excessive amounts of stock footage, I'm the sole maker. I'm the judge, the jury, and executioner when it comes down to editing Lost Legends. Sometimes I got an assistant researcher, collaborator, or the one guy who recorded some gameplay. Most of the time it's only me. Another thing to improve is definitely the scheduling. So when I make an episode, I try to get it done under a month, and then move on to the next one. After the Revolt update episode, I took a month-long break, and be back to do Rayman 2 along with Malice. There's a 3-month gap where I later produced a 10th episode, which is Pinball, skipping the 9th one, which later down the 2023 years where Turok, the updates, and the Maximo videos are made. The next season I should think ahead of schedule, and possibly collaborate other users who specialize on certain games in question. Before you ask, I'm working on this series while I had a full-time job outside YouTube. Now that's it for the main stuff. Next is software. So you know I don't like OG Xbox emulation, and I can prove that with Revolt and Malice when it comes down to getting the damn ROMs working. Or tried to. There's probably some sort of trick for the sake of playing these properly. It shouldn't be this complicated when I saw footage of some guy playing the Cancel 100 bullets on Zemu, and somehow I can't. Guess it turns out that some ROMs are just bad dumps or something like that. I may still hold a grudge on Xbox emulators for being too fussy. Guess I need some specialists to take a look at them. Hardware, on the other hand, got me this light for some better shots of me. However, if you're wondering about the weird angle I've taken, that's because of my Nikon camera is a bulky piece of kit. The one struggle for me is the lack of exterior monitor for me to plug in. There are ways that doesn't involve spending hundreds of dollars on a small monitor, like buying a micro HDMI to USB-C, a mount to put my camera in, and a specialized phone amp would do the trick. But for now, this webcam should do. Next, the cut content. Though my reliance on the cutting room floor shouldn't be the prime place to dig out some content, but sometimes outside the TCRF also contains stuff that they missed. I mean, Turok Evolution showed me more unused stuff than what the page featured. Then again, Evo made the page in the first place. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. What I want to talk about is I think the cut content should be its own chapter. This one makes sense as I'm going to talk about the cut content first, and then some other things next. This one will be more robust and organized, as I got a few things planned out for the chapter. The concept art, on the other hand, is dicey to say the least. For one, it can show off ideas that wasn't implemented in the final game, and the other shows off existing things, but sometimes look different. For the sake of being organized, concept art should be its own segment with the cut content. The last thing I want to improve is set some rules in the future, which I dubbed the manual. Throughout the show it looks fine to you, but to me, I think it's a mess. The bits and knobs when editing the whole thing can be inconsistent. For example, I included this weird blue text box in my recent video, which was never done in the previous episodes. Sometimes I usually add a blue overlay and display the text there, or in some cases, for the text I use the dark blue plus outline displayed over the footage that's too bright. I should make a standard to that to make it a lot more consistent is what I'm saying. Maybe add neat pics to just give myself a visual. What to cover? So for Season 1, I covered shooters, racers, platformers, a robot fighter, a pinball game, and top it off with a hack and slash. Although the FPS and racing games are my favorite genres, but there's a lot more that should have been added. I mean, there's no puzzle games, RPGs, shmups, or even an RTS. Then again, I'm terrible at the latter genre. There was a game I want to cover this season, which was going to be the original Shadow Warrior. I decided to hold it back for a special down the line because, unlike Gran Turismo or Dusk, this had several builds that are pretty much different games. That was supposed to be the 7th episode, which was replaced by Malice, which in itself switched places with Rayman 2 last minute. For the upcoming Season 2, there's a lot more topics to cover, like Gran Turismo 2, Thrill Kill, or even Sword Quest comes to mind when I played Atari's 50th Anniversary Collection. Another Season 2 contender is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which started out as some skateboard-themed racing game, until it became its own mid-development. Also 100 Bullets I mentioned a while ago. The scripts for these episodes are still works in progress. There's another episode down the line, but this one wasn't written by me, but someone else who was passionate about a certain licensed game. Dude even managed to gather the former devs for the project, believe it or not. I want to set the reminder that there are limits on games I want to cover. For one, I could cover console games of the 6th gen, but if it's a PS3/Xbox 360 exclusive title, I don't have the hardware. Of course, there's emulators like Xenia and RCPS3, but I doubt my PC could run Red Dead Redemption emulated. For 7th gen PC games and beyond, sure, I could cover that no problem. Other types of games I won't cover are ones that are in early access or just got out of it, which is a rule I wrote down before I made the manual. There's 2 games in particular I want to cover for Season 2, but those titles remain in early access, but they're pretty close to completion. Another I won't cover are games that are recently released and haven't had a major update for less than 3 years. This applies to live service games too, but you won't see any of those in Lost Legends. Again, I want to ask you what kind of game I should cover. If I have enough suggestions, then I would make a poll on which one will be the most requested, and by there, I'll make an episode on that topic. Season 2 is up to you. Any milestones to add? For passing 50 subscribers without marketing, that's a start and I can't thank you enough. If I tend to reach 500 subscribers, I'll throw in a nice video. I have an iceberg video in mind, but I think it was too late for that. But I want to do it nonetheless. Consider this as the Sears catalog of lost video game content. I'm almost done making the whole iceberg chart, but I'm having a hard time finding the last cherry on the cake. Something that's a lot more spicy, per se. For 1,000 subscribers, I should throw in a thank you video or something like that. Well, just because I don't have an idea what to do next, so yeah, we'll see on that. Okay, if that doesn't pique your interest, here's the carrot. If I ever reach 69,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I might cover a very spicy game like Breeding Season or BMX Triple X or something like that, as a special episode. But the odds of that ever happening is like winning the $1 million jackpot. So yeah, good luck with that one, you filthy bastards. Yeah, go ahead, subscribe to make me eat my own words. Doubt this video will ever reach 1,000 views by the end of the month. Now, finally, up next, on the whole Lost Legends saga. I'm gonna talk about Malice once again. I already talked about this on the beginning of the video, but after that is the remake of those Twisted Metal videos I posted on my channel, Mace2.0. This is the only time I post this one again on both my channels, but I need to remind myself on that. So if I reach 500 subscribers, I'm going to work on the iceberg video, which will be very lengthy, then that 1,000 subscribers thank you video, and after all that, Season 2 of Lost Legends will begin. Maybe before the iceberg video gets uploaded. I'm not sure. Lastly, sometime during Season 2, I'm going to update the Shantae video when Shantae Advance was released, which will be available on PC, in case the scalpers got the Game Boy Advance game before I did. So, yeah, that's it. So, thank you people who followed the White Rabbit. And for now,
I got a video to do.
Dude, lost.